Podcast. We'll be sitting down with a fresh guest each week. Someone who shares the same kayak fishing passion that runs through our veins. We're talking kayak anglers, kayak companies, lure experts. Heck, anyone who's got a story to tell about landing the big ones from a kayak. We're setting our sights on becoming the #1 kayak fishing podcast in the world. You'll get a chuckle, a grin, and hey, maybe even a belly laugh. Because we believe in the power of humor. But above all, we're here to educate and inspire. So, whether you're a seasoned kayak angler or just dipping your toes into this exhilarating world, join us on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. It's time to reel in adventure, camaraderie, and the joy of the catch. Here's your host, Darren Wendell.
You fish freaks. Welcome to episode number 140 of the KFO show, Kayak Fishing Obsessed. We've got Debo in the house on a mashup tonight, and this show is going to be a banger. We're pulling back the curtain with Kyle Peterson from Berkley, the guy who's literally behind the scenes right now, building and designing the baits you've got tied on. So if you've ever said, why does this bait get smoked and this one gets ignored? Well, tonight's tonight, you might get some answers. We're talking the science, the strategy, the stuff no one talks about. So what actually triggers a bass to commit, and what else is just noise in your tackle box. So this isn't theory. This is lab tested, waterproven, straight from the source knowledge that can completely change how you approach every single cast. And real quick, every week, before you worry about catching more fish, especially out of a kayak, make sure you're coming home safe every single time. That's what KFAST is about. Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training. It's simple, it's affordable, and it's built to keep you safe on the water. So if you have yet to pull the trigger on earning your certification, head over to kfast.co and get that done. Wyatt, Debo, welcome. How you guys doing?
Well, man, I leave for 1 week and you replace me here.
Yeah, gone. Gone. You lost both your jobs. So, Debo, every single week for, I don't know, a few months, one of the first questions I ask Wyatt, everybody wants to know, Wyatt, do you still have a job?
I think so. I haven't been there for a while.
No, you haven't. Every time I talk, because right now, you just finished up the 10. Like, you're at Lake Gunnersville.
Yeah.
You're not at work. Every time we talk,
like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, my gosh. Talk about committed to the podcast. Debo, how you been?
Hey, man, I'm grinding. I'm trying to learn the ways of the YouTube so we can just continue to blow up and go full time like Wendell. That's what we all want to do.
We can talk about learn the ways of the YouTube. Homie's over here. I see you thriving. I see you over there.
Surviving. I've got, listen, we need to get Kyle in here because I got a question that is dying.
Get him in.
Get him in here.
Kyle, welcome
to the show.
What's going on?
So I'm going to let Debo take it because he's like, I have a question that needs.
Well, we can't fire that out of the gates.
We're firing it out the gate.
We need to. I want to give a special tip of my hat to Kyle because going back to the Berkley meetup, Wendell and I were lucky enough to go to the Berkley product unveiling, check out the new lab series stuff, and we felt a little bit intimidated because there were some very big names there. Like the owner of Hummingbird, some guy was there talking, around the table. We're just kind of there sitting there chilling, and Kyle comes up, like, "Oh, hey guys," starts talking to us. We kick it off. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You're the Iowa guy." Blah blah blah. Well, Kyle totally broke the ice and made it way more comfortable. Introduced us to I forget his name, the other lure guy, young cat. Anyway, forget his name. Sorry. But totally broke the ice. It was really cool. And you told the story of how you got started at Berkley. So I think that would be a really fun one to start out, kind of give your background and all that.
Yeah. So you never know where life's going to take you. So I'm going to start off with that right away. I grew up, I went to Northern Iowa school called Lake Mills. When I was in high school trying to figure out the path that we're going to go, I knew an office job was not for me. So I took the construction route. I actually went to school for building trades, got a diploma in that, and started off in the construction field. I did commercial stuff and building houses. But one thing that was always true to me was fishing. I fished all the time, every weekend after work. That was something my dad and I did when we were growing up, and that never faded. So, fast forward, I don't know how many years I was in construction, but basically I was diehard muskie guy, and I started to make lures in my garage or just hobby around. And I really didn't have success at it at first. Like I would do it in the winter when we're all frozen, there's ice everywhere, you're bored. I don't really like ice fishing. So that's when I'd start whittling away. I came up with this giant grub type lure that was pre-rigged with a harness, but it took me like 5 years to finally get it to where it was. And it's kind of funny what at the time was a shocker to the system ended up changing my whole life. So I get this prototype lure that I had made in my garage. I made a silicone mold, hand super sculpty, cut out the tail, hand bent the wire, made my own lead weights. And I gave some to my buddies, and they went up to Vermilion, and they ended up catching like 8 muskies one day and 7 the next. And it was like outperforming everything. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, that's amazing. And it was really rough, like horrible quality, like just god awful. But I ended up going to a machine shop, and I was like, hey, like how much would this be for aluminum mold so I can make some more better quality ones and get them to my buddies and just my guys, friends around the, that I fish with could have. They're like, oh, $1,000. I'm like thinking to myself, okay, like I could do like a deck or something for some cash and pay for that. That's not a bad deal. Go ahead and do it. So went through the design process, doing the CAD and cutting the mold, and a month goes by and I go in there and we ended up adding water lines and all these things, and the mold kind of changed. It went up to $5,000.
Oh,
so it was like, holy cow, now what? So I kind of stepped back, and the machine shop was great. Like there's no issues with any of that. They're like, pay when you can, we'll make it right. And in my mind, I'm going, well, I better start selling these to recoup some money, right? So I don't really go all like halfway, right? So I logo, started my own website, did all this stuff, and in the first week, we ended up selling like $4,000 worth of lures already. It was kind of crazy. Just started getting the ball rolling, and I was working construction. Come home, go to the computer, I'd print off all the orders. I go out to the garage and make them, and then the following morning, I'd mail them out, and I'd do that thing again. And then Saturday, I would just
burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, Saturday I was just sitting there making them, and I was getting burnt out. It didn't take long. Like all these guys that do it all the time, like kudos to those guys, because it did not take long to get burnt out. It feels like every time you started getting some money in the bank account, it's like, oh, now you need an air conditioner or a pump. And like, you're always just kind of saying, oh, I wasn't like making money, so I was getting burnt out. And then I had a friend on Facebook called Dan Spangler, and he posted this pure fishing job opportunity, and I'm like, oh, like I'm not qualified. It's like 2-year degree and everything else. But I ended up writing Dan this long message about how fishing has changed my life. It's always been there. There's the company that I've started and what I'm kind of doing. And he's like, please put this in a cover letter. And I ended up doing that, fast track couple months, and ended up job interviewing and doing really well through the interviewing process. And I think one of the things that stood out is, it was a pretty cutthroat job. Everybody wanted it. A lot of people came in and said, oh, I've done this, all this. I came in and I said, I failed, and I failed, and I failed. And that's what we do at Berkley. Like after going through the interviewing process and getting the job, I realized why. I didn't come in and say it was perfect first try. I learned, I repeated the process. I learned, I repeated the process until you get something that's really, truly great. And I think that's kind of stood out to them and the company. And here I am 6 years later.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty crazy story. But yeah.
I love the origin story because it goes from like, this wasn't your end goal. You didn't even know probably this job even existed out there. All the way back to you just want to help some buddies out with some baits.
Yeah, that's literally it. Just I remember I was actually living down in Cedar Falls. We would go fish Pleasant Creek all the time in McBride. We would fish 40 hours, and then we would fish 32 hours on the weekend. It was sun up to sundown, sleep in our truck, and then grind again, and then I'd just start the week over again.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, the other guy was Nathan Ragsdale.
Yeah, Nathan's the brand manager, great friend of mine.
Super nice guy. So
yeah, yep.
I didn't want him to be labeled as just the other guy.
No. I was like, there's quite a few there. I didn't know which one to help you out with. We met a lot of people, but yeah, Nathan he's the leader of all of the product development for freshwater. So
you're your title is bait designer.
Yeah, project engineer is my title.
Project engineer. Essentially, you design baits. So help us out a little bit. What does your day-to-day actually look like, right? Not what people think it is.
So design, like manage the project all the way from prototype stage or concept through production.
Oh,
so
okay.
My job is to design it, get the action right, validate all the swim action, feedback, whatever we want to do, all the way through production.
So
that makes sense.
I have like 95 questions to pop in my head now. I'm
sure perfect.
Debo, why just jump in and we'll go down all the rabbit trails.
I probably got the same questions.
Well, I mean, number one question, of course, everyone's like, "Well, how long is that process, right? Are you like staying with a lure for 6 months or 3 years?"
Both.
Oh, really?
Absolutely both. There's some cases where we need to try to get something to the customer as fast as we can, and then there's research projects that can take up to 3 years of field testing and evaluating on the fish before people even see it. Absolutely.
What are we field testing? This
What's that?
What do you feel? What are we field testing? Like, I mean,
every single project gets field tested. Yep.
How long does that process take?
Well, a lot of times it'll take a couple months through there to get all the feedback, make a change, get the lures back out. It's never really one time through. Like, that never really happens. There's always feedback, and we do a panel approach. So whether it's influencers, key opinion leaders like local pros, those guys are the best, or elite series anglers, when we give them out, we collect all that feedback, and if there's something that really stands out, we'll go change that. Some of the stuff is fluff. You got to learn how to sort through that. Each angler has their own fishing style. That it's very complex, but I always tell everyone, if you're going to give me good feedback, because a lot of people are scared about hurting your feelings, which you're not hurting my feelings at all. I got to do the best job I can for Berkley to make the lures, right? So if you're going to give me good feedback, you have to give me bad feedback. That's my rule. So if you're going to say, "Oh, this thing's great," but I need to hear the but, and that's what I try to really focus on.
And that's good to hear, because I know a number of companies, and I'm sure it's happened at Berkley before too, you know, something has to get pushed quick. Well, perfect example. It looks like you guys already had it done, but Dylan winning the classic on this, you know, could have been catastrophic had it been earlier than you guys were able to get them out. But, you know, there's been a number of companies I've got lures from, and not just like sent to me to test or anything. I'm just talking about buying it off the shelf and, you know, something happening blatantly wrong with it. And they're like, "Oh crap. Yeah, we didn't see that." You know, initially it's like, I feel like that would have been something that anybody, you know, would have noticed. So I'm sure that happens. Like, if you guys are under the torch to get something out and you're like, you know, we're trying to get this, you know, I don't know. I don't know how stringent it is.
We actually had that happen to us, and I think we handled it the best way possible. We had call shads where they did great in Red Crest, where all three guys were doing very well on it. We weren't quite there to the finish line, but the consumers wanted them, and they wanted them now. So we did some overnight or air flighting baits in and getting them out to the consumers, and they got through quality and didn't pass, and they were too hard. And we saw that, we recognized it. Not all the baits either, some of them. So if people had issues with that, they were able to give the call shads back or keep them. We would send them a brand new one, and then we actually sent them additional lures for the hassle. So we called that the recall and the call shad, and I think we were probably one of the first people to ever do that in the fishing tackle company, and it saved the launch. That bait is amazing. So
yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, that's exactly the way to do it. Because I had one that replaced them, great, and I had one that was like, "Oh, we've not seen that issue." And it's like, I've had 15 people tell me this is an issue. So that's my biggest thing with the company is people are going to make mistakes. It's bound to happen. It's not a mistake. It's just an opportunity to learn. That's all it is. As long as you make it right, great. You know, it's all you can ask for. So,
yeah. I mean, I was curious, but I mean, as far as like the bait design stuff, I was looking at that latest minnow, the Lab Series minnow. Like, where'd the air pocket? Like, where's the air pocket, and like, how do you figure that out, and how do you test like what's the right size for that?
Example of listening to the market. Reviews, any of that stuff. I'm always kind of the silent guy sitting in the back just listening. I don't really have a voice or try to have a voice. I just like to listen. And one of the things that stood out, whether it's any of the pros they're talking about cadence in the minnow getting off. So we have this amazing facility where I can take any lure and go put it right in the water, and I can look at that lure at the end of the cast, which many people can't. So we have underwater viewing, like we can go into that whole facility and the amazing facility that we have to review that. But I could start watching people work the minnow, and I could see actually with my own eyes what was happening. And when they start tapping their rod and shaking the minnow would be bobbing, right? And then it would start to pop up. And that's when, like all those pros were saying, the cadence isn't quite right, you're not doing it, the fish would turn off. I started to learn why. And to fight that, I came up with the buoyancy chamber to always be wanting to fight or ride itself level in the water. And that made the bait completely stable. It makes it easier to roll. And that's kind of how it came up. That's kind of like the construction thing, the engineering mind, my background on how things kind of work played right into my role here at Berkley. So I was able to think about, how do I fix that? Well, if the bait is always trying to stay level in the water, that's how I can fix it. And that's where the buoyancy chamber came in.
Interesting. So
yeah,
obviously that's a lab series bait. This is where we all kind of met, learned about it for the first time. Thought it was exciting. Did get my hands on some. Debo and I could talk about that in a little bit. So thank you for sending those our way. But out of the gate, obviously, you couldn't be set up to, position a bait in front of the market in such a, fast amount of time than win a world championship with it. And so there was that weird moment, though, I would imagine, for a short period of time where you're like, he won on the minnow. And he's also probably not supposed to talk about it publicly. So it's like,
it was like the best worst case scenario ever.
What happened there? Well, how many meetings were you a part of?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy how things work out like that. A lot of the times being first to market is good, but a lot of times being right to market is good. And what we were able to do, and even from that mid-strolling technique where guys were originally just taking the 90-degree hook and putting the nail weight in the nose and just moping it all the way through, we got to learn all of the complaints, the issues, the actions, why things are important, and what guys learned all the way through and put it into one bait. So when we did that and started getting the feedback from the pros, it was like instantly, like 8-10 pounders. They would just send pictures back with this minnow choked. It was pretty crazy. I would have never thought, I shouldn't say I would have never thought, but we were down at Bardstown and the Classic was shortly after. I wish I would have went down to the Classic to be there for that moment and watch Dylan win. I was actually fishing a tournament on Saturday when he caught, that mega bag. I didn't even get to see it, but my phone was blowing up, but I didn't look at it. And then afterwards, of course, I watched it all day Sunday and everything, but perfect storm for sure.
So what's the feedback you're getting on, and I'm showing it for those of you listening in, we have the finesse worm, flatworm, and the minnow, which comes in two sizes, 5.5 and 6.5, correct?
Yep.
So what's the initial feedback? Like, do you have obviously this is the clear winner. I would imagine it would be the minnow with FFS, but feedback on the others?
The minnow is obviously the biggest trend in fishing right now. So that's getting the star of the show, but my absolute favorite is the finesse worm. That is not an easy shape to get right. It's all about profile, rigging on the hook, pulling through the weeds, and then you put that slime into there, and that's where you really get to allow the scent to work for you, drop shotting in front of fish where they can actually come up, smell it, and you're going to get that more bites. Like that. It's my favorite shape, though. The worm is.
They gone.
Yeah,
I'm clicking through here, and you actually have minnows. I'm surprised.
Well, you have to click the size though first.
Oh. Then all out of order. Yeah, there we go.
They gone.
Yeah,
they gone and they gone. They all gone. Where does someone get their hands on some of this stuff right now?
I have never had so much DMs and messages of people trying to get their hands on them, and I really do try to hook everybody up the best I can. But I'm down to a Ziploc baggie full of them.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Again, great problem to have. Yeah, I'll say I got to fish. We did get our hands on those early and fish them. So I do want to thank you guys for that a ton. They're cool lures. I kind of like the little flatworm, and I hate drop shots. And I was throwing it, and the thing was getting whacked. Yeah. I think I'd rather tear my nails off than fish a drop shot, but I dedicated an afternoon to it. So
anybody can have Debo fish a drop shot and admit to it. It's impressive. Berkley, you did it.
I think that is another win.
Yeah.
Tough times
That's
call
bigger
for
than the
tough
classic
measures.
win
So.
for me.
Hey, congrats on your win.
What do you mean?
You just had what Spirit? Did you win up there?
Yeah,
Right?
my partner and I won Friday, Saturday, and then we got 6th in the big open up here. That's the one I really wanted to win, but just didn't work out.
Well, that's still badass.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
1% of people in the world get to win a tournament. So
yeah, thank you. It
You
was
just
a
make it up,
fun
Debo?
weekend.
Where'd you pull that out of? You just make that up?
no, Chris and I were talking about it. Chris is a big fan. Here's my buddy Chris. He was telling me the story, which you'll need to get into that story maybe here in a little bit. But you said you're not a fan of ice fishing, but I heard you did a form of that this year.
Yeah, I saved some people's lives that changed my life. That's for sure.
Oh, that's a whole different one. I was talking about putting your boat in and kind of.
Oh, you're
We gotta
talking
hear
about
both
the wind
now,
scene.
so-
Yeah, okay.
Grab a
yeah,
cup of
that
coffee,
type
folks. We're going for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got all kinds of fun stories.
I got all kinds of stories. Yeah, that was a whole ordeal.
Which one are we telling?
Which one you want?
Both. You just choose which one.
So I'll start with the one you're talking about. We on the north end of Spirit, there's a little we call it a footbridge, which is a neck down between like the marsh and the main lake. And when you neck down, you get current, right? So it kind of stayed open a little bit. We had some geese that kept it open, but we ended up getting a really big northwest wind that cut that wind seam right in front of our boat ramp. So I was able to put the boat in and go out and fish. And there's people driving their trucks right next to the edge of the ice. So I was able to go out there in the season. The walleye season hadn't closed yet. So I was able to find some walleyes. I ended up catching, I don't know, 10 to, I have it on my phone here. I've been keeping a tracker this year, but I got like 14 walleyes and they're all big out there, and caught a couple muskies and a pike, and it was a blast. So I was in February fishing out of a boat up here in the Great Lakes while other people were pulling sleeper shacks around.
Yeah, still people ice fishing and you're out fishing open water.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty crazy.
Now, that's going to segue to ice fishing because I've heard the other story before, and it's also on the ice, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about that for a second. I'd love for you to share that story because I got a follow-up question that I didn't get to ask you while in Bardstown.
Yeah, you're talking about saving the people?
Yes.
Yeah. Crazy story, guys. It changed my life. I moved here on Winter Games 6 years ago. Fast forward to about, and I'm going to go into this part because I think it's important, but fast forward to about a year, maybe 2 years ago, my wife wanted to do a New Year's resolution where we started reading the Bible. I did that, and I started changing the way that I think about everything. Fast forward a year, so I've been reading the Bible about a year, once a night or once a week. My wife and I will read that. But let's see. I come home. My wife has got a supper planned with all of her friends, like all of her work people all come back and they all go out to a supper. I'm supposed to watch the kids. I have 2 little girls, and that was the plan. So I come home. My mother-in-law's here. Something happened where she didn't have to leave. So my wife asked me to go to supper with her. I'm like, no, I'm not going to listen to a bunch of hens cluck. Like I'm not doing that. She asked me again. I said no. She ended up asking me a third time, and inside there was something, not even my own voice, that's saying, Kyle, go to that supper. And my mother-in-law was supposed to leave, and she goes, you know what, Kyle? She's like, I'll stay and watch the girls. You can go. And I went to the supper. So it was on a restaurant called Waterfront. It's kind of on the lake. We ended up going in, and for some reason I sat on a chair that looked out a window clear across the lake. So I sit down and they're all talking and everything, and I'm, talking whatever. And I remember seeing headlights going across the lake way out there. And I go, ooh, like I hadn't been ice fishing really. And I remember people talking about the weird seams this year on East Lake to be careful. And as soon as that happened, I watched headlights go like this, tip up, turn towards me, and just disappear within 20 seconds. So I go, they just went through. So I got up, grabbed my jacket, and I took off. And I busted out the exit alarm door on the lake, and I ran down the steps, and I got down to the water, and it was all heaved and up and down. And I knew that I had to try, right? I couldn't live with myself not trying. Like there's a whole restaurant there. I ran down, I jumped on the ice just perfectly fine. And I just took off running. My wife came down, who's tiny. She jumped on the ice, broke through.
Huh.
And I just kept running. And it took me about 15 minutes of running across bare ice. And there was another UTV that was following them. But what happened was they didn't fall through the ice. It was like a huge wind seam that went all the way across the ice. And this was 100 yards long or 50 yards long that they skipped. So the other UTV could not get to them. So they're like, got the lights shining on them. And I got like 3/4 of the way there. And I remember, and I still have it in my head, I could hear the lady's voice screaming I shouldn't hold on anymore. So I'm sprinting. I tried to yell like I'm coming. They obviously couldn't hear because of the UTV running on the other side or whatever. But I get up to the lady, and the impact from the UTV skipping across hitting the ice had like shattered like the ice. But that UTV fell down, and when it landed on the bottom of the lake, it's 20 foot deep, it tipped the headlights up, and it was making the ice glow where I could see a path out to this lady. So I like just got up close as I could to her, and I'm like, you need to get flat and start kicking. And she's like, she's holding on just by her hands, like just her fingertips and her nose is all I could see of her head. And she's buried. She's been in the water for 10 minutes.
Gosh. Yeah.
I'm like, you got to get flat. You got to start kicking. I'm trying to coach her. She's like, I can't move my body anymore. So I took off my jacket, and her hands are like this. And some miracle, I flipped my jacket, and my one sleeve went right in, and she just went like this and caught it. And I'm wearing Hey Dudes. There's water and ice everywhere. And I give them props. I don't know if the Hey Dudes helped me grip, but I never fell. I pulled, and she kind of like wiggled up to her elbows. And then I got myself again, and I pulled, and then she got to her belly, and then I was able to sling her back to safe ice. And then I got back out, and then there's another path that was just, it was like broken up, shattered ice about like a foot, right? It wasn't like micro cracked or anything. So I knew I could walk out to it. And he had his elbows locked in, like he wasn't going to go anywhere. But his legs were like froze under the ice, and he couldn't move them either. So he was like frozen an L or like a U, and he's a bigger boy. So I flipped my jacket to him, a couple pulls, ended up getting him out, and I put him on my shoulders. And I remember like looking up, and the restaurant lights were like this big, and they couldn't like really walk or move. And I'm just like, I just stayed positive, kept my head down, like, what, we're keeping going. They're like, we got to stop. I'm like, nope, keep going. And I think we walked for another 10 minutes, and then I could hear the fan boat coming, and I took out my phone, and I ended up waving my light and flashing them down. And I also called 911. I told them, hey, I got them out. You're going to have to cut us off between here and the restaurant or whatever. And I hung up and started walking, got them in the boat, and they lost some feelings in their legs and for like a week and stuff like that, but they're perfectly fine.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty insane.
From what I know about cold water and that exposure, they didn't have minutes left.
Yeah. No, it was just her.
No joke.
Yeah.
It was literally just her face and nose out. She couldn't hold
minutes.
on anymore. Yeah.
If not seconds. My God.
Yeah.
Brought the crazy story. You told a little more detail tonight than you did.
Yeah.
It's
a good story that needs to be told. There was some other things that happened. My daughter had prayed for me. She's 5. But that night, first time ever, I had a trip to China coming up, and she did this prayer thing, and it's just weird how it all lined up and all that happened. You just can't line it all up.
So how does that change a man?
Yeah, that shook me. Like Friday, I spent the whole day crying. I just wanted to get back and hold my girls, like that night. Like, I'm like, sorry guys, sorry wife, like I'm done. Like, I'm going home. I got my food or whatever, and I went home, hugged my girls. I tried to keep it on the down low. I actually didn't tell anybody, but one of the first responders works at Pure Fishing where I do in Spirit Lake. So word got out. The couple never knew my name. or anything. They went and searched everywhere to find out who I was. And then the story started to snowball really big, right? Like people were like by 10 o'clock or noon on Friday, people are starting to figure out who I was and the name. And is this you? And like tagging me in the post, some mysterious guy saved this Kyle Peterson. No one knows who he is. And they ended up reaching out to me. I went out on Saturday with them and got to meet them in person. They ended up having 6 kids together. Just this awesome story. And it was great. I ended up getting the Iowa Governor's Award with Valor for saving people. Those 2 came down to my ceremony, made the governor cry, so that was good. I got a big old plaque and a
awesome.
deputy's coin I'm going to try to use to get out of jail free card someday if I need
There you go.
we'll see.
Things can change.
Yeah, yeah,
How fragile life really is.
yeah.
Oh man, Debo, any follow-up questions, thoughts, Wyatt?
No, I didn't.
Were
I
they
didn't
like?
go ice fishing after that. I can tell you that.
Were they going ice fishing? Is that what they're doing? Were they crossing? What were they doing?
Yeah, so Winter Games. It happened on Winter Games. Thursday night, I talked to the guy's name, and he said they went out and they did a big loop to check the ice the day before, like responsible people would. But that like the ice to water transition is non-existent. Like there was no heaves or anything, so they just did a big loop. Yeah, it's clear all the way across there. I'm sure the sun shining blended it right in, and
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, I don't know how to transition out of that. I decided to just ask you some unrelated question.
Hit me.
Awkward segue. No, I wanted to circle back. Okay, we can take the bunny trail as far as we want to go. We can come back every once in a while. So let's circle back here. So back to your day to day. What's one misconception about lure designers that kind of drives you nuts?
They think we're on the water all the time.
That's gonna be another question. I had it written down. How often do you fish?
I work an office job and I fish. I'm a diehard angler. I go out all the time. We still have a job to do. I'm a CAD designer. I do all the CAD designs in the computer. I still manage all the projects. Everybody thinks that it's just on the water every day, and that is not true. The other one is
the nose and the line is not
selling it.
Your case here.
Not selling it. We're not buying it. You're selling it.
Helping me at all right now. That's for sure.
It reminds me
the
of
other one is
the ESPN commercials where they're sitting there, they're like sitting in a little cubicle and it pans out and they're actually on the front of their boat.
Yeah. Get the blue screen going. Actually, I'm in my boat right now. You guys just don't know.
Right?
Yeah. The other one that is field testing. People think field testing is great and awesome because you're on the water fishing, which it is. And at times it can be truly amazing when the bite lines up. But a lot of times it's grindy and you're trying to figure out ways to catch a fish with that lure at the time. And it might not be the best situation, like you can't test the buzzbait ice fishing, right? Or like when ice comes out, like you can sit there and run a buzzbait around an 8-inch ice hole. I don't think so. So it's not always fun, right? Sometimes it's a grinder and you have a job to do at hand and a task, and that's what you got to focus on. And there might be smallmouth blowing up on top water and you just want to throw over there, but that's not the case. So those are the two that stick out to me.
You're like ready to go. I didn't even finish the question.
Right.
Sounds like you've had this conversation before.
Yeah, that one comes up a lot, right?
What else you got for me, Darren? Bring it. I don't know if I was talking to Debo. We hop on a little bit early and we're having a conversation, but I always wondered, like, Berkley is somewhat secretive as far as, like, I can't find any video of how you guys test and all this stuff like that. And so I think, Debo, we got to ask him as many questions as possible that he's like, I can't answer that.
Yeah, I'll tell you that too.
All right. So walk the line. And I want to hear about the gray area. Like, you're going to get called into HR. You're not going to get in trouble tomorrow, but they want to have a conversation with you. Conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you did that at the Berkley unveiling too, while you were on the tank.
Oh yeah, you let some juice loose, and
Edwin got second or whatever on the finesse worm in a MLF event. I wasn't supposed to say that, but
yeah,
I can say it now. So Edwin did get second on the finesse worm, my favorite bait. So yeah.
So you had like almost 2 wins with that bait. Gosh.
Yeah, right away before it was even released. Yep.
Anything since?
I mean, there's all kinds of. They just won an NWT, the first National Walleye Tour. It just won that event too right away on, I think, Erie. Yeah.
Right on. Right in my backyard.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Take it back
let's take you through. Let's just take you through a minnow bait or a crankbait. Okay. So the first thing that we like to do is we work hand in hand with the brand team, a category, whatever we want to go after. Is there a need? How do we fill it? How do we make it better? How do we improve on it? Call shad or the chop block, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any of those projects. How do we improve on it? So the first thing we'll do it as a market study, or we'll talk to consumers, or we'll listen. The hook clip idea, bait's not running true, all of these durability concerns, we start to list out our pain points. How do we fix them? And then it's my job to figure out the solve, right? So I start brainstorming, thinking of weird abstract ideas. I like to think outside of fishing. So the hook clip on the call shad came from my snow shovel that I click into the wall.
Oh, nice.
That's where that idea came from. So we do that, right? And I start to build what I call a blueprint. So literally in my sketchbook, I will start to sketch this really rough shape concept in my head. And I start to come out, and on the side, just like construction, I have my blueprint sizes, weights that we're trying to get, issues, my pain points. How do I solve them? And I'll start to sketch in here like, oh, the hooks come out all the time. Well, how can I solve that? I had pins going through, yada, 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 whatever it needs to be, right?
Okay.
So that's step one. I get this sketch. And from that sketch, I will take that image and I can take a picture and I'll put it into a program that we call Pro Engineer. It's a CAD program where I am able to sketch my lines and build a computer animated design of this model. So from there, I'll go back and forth. That actually takes several tries of doing that. And then I'll get to something that I think looks really good and clean. And I will 3D print it. So we'll output it, and then I can hold this shape in my hand. And once you hold it in your hand, you're like, oh, way too fat here. Oh, these legs need to be thicker. That just instantly pops in my head. Oh, that's going to tear off too easy. How do I fix that? So I'll do that and go back into CAD and change it again until I get to somewhere that I think this sucker can swim. It's going to look all right. And then we'll output a tool path. So right in Spirit Lake, right inside our facility, we have a whole model shop. We have a machinist named Dave. He's been there for over 20 years.
All right.
We have CNCs, lathes, anything that we need to do to make a mold. So we'll output a tool path. We cut our own aluminum molds.
Oh, wow. You build in-house.
Yep. Right from that mold, I can go right down to our chemistry lab, our applied chemistry lab, where we have 4 or 5 guys working just as chemistry. So they're making samples. They're the ones doing the color formulas. They're the ones that are putting the magic stuff in the bait, right? That's not me. That's all them. They have PhDs in this. They're very smart chemists. So I'll take that mold, give it to them. They'll make me a swim sample.
Okay.
The next day I can open that mold or the swim sample. I can go right back to our lab or casting lab where we have a 6-foot wide, 65-foot long, 13.5-foot casting pool with underwater viewing. So
how many cameras are in that thing?
There's no cameras. It's like a aquarium.
Oh, it's like
so I can go
essentially
downstairs
the hog trough, but you visualize it for that long.
Yeah, it's that long. It's all windows, so I can go down.
It's like the whale tank at the zoo where you can walk down and watch the whales underwater.
100% like that. Yep. And you can, I think in that lab series video, you can see me writing or whatever. You can see a bait come by. There's some videos out there, but I can go down there. I can have somebody cast a lure. I can slow motion and analyze it. I can look at how the bait is moving. And from there, I'm usually right back up, going back to the computer and changing things because I'm not happy with it. So I will do that 3-4 times before I get something like, oh yeah, I think this is good for me. This is what I think is good, but I'm not the fish, right? So that's where we like to let the fish tell us. So from there, I might sometimes.
How much time has elapsed so far, like from there to there?
On a given development that we have time, maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere in there, depending on how many other projects are going through the model shop and the labs and whatever we're doing. But we can rapid prototype and kick revisions out once a day.
Oh, that's crazy.
So if we have a
your
pro
machine
come
shop
in,
is humming.
yeah, we got a full-time machinist. So another way is like a pro-driven bait. They'll come in, spend time with us for a week, and we'll do that. We'll just rapid develop for a whole week until we get something that's really, really good, making field test samples going that way.
That was my other question. Is some of these by angler demand? And then you just move through the process with that person for this period of time.
Yeah, and it's weird, and I love it because bait development is it's ever changing, right? Each project has its own set of requirements that we need to tackle in all different ways, right? Sometimes we do research-driven baits, and that's the part that I'm going to get into, where we let the fish tell us.
Yeah.
So we have, I think Dan, my boss, he's got a master's degree. Brent Southworth has a master's degree, and Mark Sexton has a master's degree in fish science. So they literally went to school to study fish. We have a whole facility that's got aquariums lined up with bass in them, bluegills. Okay. That's where the power bait, max scent, and gulp, all the fish attractants are developed.
How big is this thing? I need to visualize. What am I looking at here? Like,
oh, okay. I know the casting lab is 100 foot, so it's probably 100 foot by 80. There's two of those, 100 foot by 80 foot. So one is our casting
swimming
lab.
with big old bass and crappie right now.
Yeah, so we have aquariums where they have, I don't know how many fish in there, but we can hold hundreds of bass in this facility that we can do taste testing on. But the really cool thing is we have the ability to subject lures to bass and let the bass tell us which one's the best. It's very scientific. I'm not going to get into the details. It's over my head, and I'd probably say something I shouldn't, but it's very scientific, where there's a method and a process used to let the fish tell us which lure is the best. And that's something that we really strive for. So you see that rapid prototyping all the way back and forth changing.
Uh-huh.
We get it to where we think it's good.
Yeah.
We let the fish tell us, and then this is the really important part. We let the fish tell us, and it's almost 95% of the time right, but not always. From there, we go out and we do head-to-head field testing. And that's where one guy is in the front of the boat, one guy is in the back of the boat. We have identical setups. We have a timer, and you guys are casting, going down, fishing the same exact thing for 10 minutes. You rotate rods. 10 minutes, rotate rods. 10 minutes, rotate rods. So you're testing the baits back and forth, and you'll start to get the staggering look on which bait is better. And we try to go to 250 or maybe it's 500 bass. I think it's 500 bass before we call the study or the success done. And that might take a whole summer or 2 years to do.
Oh, I was about to say,
it doesn't
whose
matter.
job is that? I want that job right there.
Yeah, that's the
See, Kyle's lying. That is really what he's doing.
Science
He's
team.
out
That's
there
Mark
fishing to catch 500 bass.
and Brent's team.
How do you get on that team? Everyone's like,
you need a master's degree, bud.
I don't know. It's only 2 years on top of 4, 6 years.
But, hey,
fish
that's
for 2
part
years
of the
straight.
thing that I was talking about. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes that's a grinder and not a fun task either when they're not really biting, is to go out and get that data. So,
oh man, they're not biting today. I guess I'll have to go out tomorrow and do it again.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh man, they're not biting today. I guess I'll have to go tomorrow and do it again. Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Oh no, but the same lure over and over again, switching that's just about as monotonous as putting a lure together like we used to do, whittling away during the winter night.
So that would get us to, if we go all the way through that process of submitting the fish, field testing, all the pro feedback, key opinion leaders, whatever it is, that gets us to a design lock. That means we are confident in going forward into a production tool. Some projects die off. Some you never see. A lot you never see. Once we got something that we really, truly like, take the minnow, the chop block, any of that stuff, that's when we go into production, where we start cutting a production tool, running large trials, seeing the manufacturing tolerances in there, testing the high and low baits, and trying to put a spec to make sure that when the consumer opens up a Berkley bait, it is everything that I put into the bait, everything that the applied chemistry team put in the bait, everything that the fish science put into the bait, everything that we all did together into that bait is what the consumer's picking up and has confidence in. That's the Berkley Labs. That's the science behind it all. It is a team, this huge group of people that is surrounded in that building that allows us to put all of our knowledge into one bait.
Wow. How many people are you talking here?
Oh God, oh man,
And you're
that's a
guesstimating
tough
at
one,
this
but
point.
25 plus.
Oh wow, it's a big team.
Yeah, between all of the testing and the chemistry people and it's a big team. I could go through and name them all off for you, but
That's awesome.
we'd be here a while. Yeah.
So really
And this is the perfect time. Everybody wants to talk to me because I'm the designer, but we have some true unsung heroes that never get to see the camera light, that our team would fall apart without them. They're amazing people that keep us on task and track and do some things that no one else wants to do, and they are the true stars of the show. They really are.
What do they do?
Keep me in line.
Big job.
Wait, yeah. They are true heroes too.
Make me come back in the office before I've caught 500 fish.
Yeah, the team would fall apart without them. It truly would.
Oh man. So real quick, we have over 100 live right now. If you have not yet done so, you're listening in, hit that like button, help us out a little bit after the show. So take us to the point where we get to design lock. Obviously, as a designer, you're probably like, oh man, that's the goal. Because once I get design lock, then it's going to take off and it goes to different marketing, blah, blah, blah. It's out the door. You see it on the shelves. That could be exciting. However, like I put 100 baits through this process. How many are making it into design lock?
You're taking like 100 different projects.
Yeah, 100 different projects.
So projects like the Nessie and stuff took like 3 years to get right, and we just kind of kept working on it and working on it and working on it. That's kind of a loaded question. Some I'm still working on when I get time. So we also have a bullpen, what we call it, and those are projects that Dan's my boss that does all the hard baits, where we can use our creative freedom or whatever we think is cool and new, edgy, whatever. Like that is where we can bullpen a shape, get it to like a design lock or what we think is good, or field test it and just kind of have it ready to roll if needed. So out of 100 projects, I don't think I've worked on 100 projects yet, even there in the 6 years.
Give me an average. Out of 10, let's say you worked on 10 projects. How many are making it?
I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 make it.
Oh, okay. So it's a pretty high chance.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we don't give up, that's for sure. We just keep working on it until it's right.
can you share any story about one that died and why? I'm curious how something with so much time and effort and brains and minds together, why does one in the cold case files?
You guys know Shape 108?
Shape 108, not familiar.
It's a pirate. It's the craw.
It's got the big giant.
Yep. So when I first came in, that's one of the things I started working on as a fun project. And the story is, and it's a jab at me, so it's kind of funny. It was my bullpen shape. It made it to market. A lot of pros fished it and liked it, so it went forward. But I changed that shape so many times that when we're trying to do the naming thing and the emails were going around, my boss says, "Why don't you call it Shape 108?" Because it took Kyle that many tries to get it right.
Hey,
and that's what they went with. So my first bullpen shape went to market is a jab at me. So I love it.
That's awesome.
right.
Yeah.
So how does something not make it?
Let's see.
Can you share of anything specifically that didn't make it? And you're like, oh,
yeah,
man,
there's.
I
don't want to say
That's
didn't
tough.
make it because, like I said, it's not there yet.
Oh,
There's all kinds of edgy, cool things that we try doing and perfecting that just haven't made it there. Does that kind of make sense? Like
they're
it
in
hasn't made it
process,
yet.
or they're kind of like, okay, we're just not there yet. It's still.
Yeah, like there's some
building it
stuff
still.
that'll be coming out that we have a patent on, and that probably took 6 years of developing to get right. So it's not didn't make it. It hasn't made it yet, if that makes sense. We're still working on it. Like it never like fully dies unless it doesn't like work in the laws of physics in a way.
I've got a segue I think that would be perfect for this, Darren. Speaking of things that made it but went away, I promised my chat we'd
There
break
it
this
is.
open.
There was a fight apparently on Debo's
There
podcast
was.
last Saturday.
So the Havoc, the old Havoc series line. People hoard those. People swear they're different. Is there a difference in the plastic, the formula of the old Havoc pit bosses versus just the regular Power Bait pit boss?
I truly don't know the answer to that.
Oh,
The fight
Sorry,
continues.
guys. I can tell you that it doesn't have our attractant in it. It's just standard PVC bait like everybody else's. But whether it's a different plastisol base and stuff like that, that's on our chemistry team, and that's over my head, and that's before my time. So sorry to all your
Sorry, Debo.
all right.
And
It's been fun talking.
maybe
Guys.
I can help you that. Part of my job is your base plastisol or the power bait. I can tweak that harder, softer, which way I want for each product.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
Yeah.
I had two questions.
Found you.
Okay.
So
I had
the
two specific ones.
So the pit boss doesn't have the regular Power Bait in it?
The Havoc pit boss would not.
Oh, the old ones did not. Yeah, say the new
Old
ones
ones do
smell it.
not. The power bait ones.
You got to taste
have
it,
the
Debo.
fish
You can't tell by
attractant, yeah.
smell. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, perfect.
Huh, that's interesting. Okay. How about so I like to nerd out over the old lures. There was one, I forget. So for example, the Ike and Ellie's, I think it was the Devil Spear.
Yep.
Guys back in the day used to cut those in half, and it was a badass chatterbait trailer.
Interesting.
There was also I forget what it was, but it was made, if you rigged it backwards, it would go backwards under stuff, like the flying lure.
I remember hearing that.
And I don't remember what it was.
The fat Icas would do that from Yamamoto.
This was, oh gosh, what was that one? I don't remember. Anyway, but doesn't matter. My question for you is, what's your favorite old, like, discontinued lure that like holds a special place for you?
An old discontinued lure.
And we can go back like way like 90s, something that used to be produced isn't anymore, that you're like, that one was sweet.
It actually would go back. I had a lot of we have interstate ponds, obviously you guys know that. The old craw fatty, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That was a really solid bait.
That was the one that had the big long flappers, right?
Yeah, that was a really solid bait. I do like that one.
Okay.
One that just recently went away and it breaks my heart is it's a walleye bait. No one's ever heard of it. It's called the power bait curly bones. We have a special machine that, and here's another juicy tidbit for you. I'm not going to say too much on, but we have a machine that allows us to push water over a lure. So we can put a lure stationary and push water over it, and I can analyze actions that way. That is my first project where I was able to get activation at the slowest speed. So like if you just lifted your rod tip, just barely, that tail was kicking. It just didn't get the placement on the shelf, and it's a phenomenal fish catching lure for walleyes, like incredible. But it just didn't get the placement, and it ended up getting cut right away. And that was like my first flow tank work bait, things like that.
Why? You got two questions.
Yeah, I had the question. So the Berkley Max Scent Creature Hog, they changed the mold on it here recently? Well, at least what I'm seeing in stores is a new mold.
Okay.
Do they change like the density of that? The density of the Max Scent?
Like I said, that's not my area. So that's kind of outside of my realm there. And that shape was, that was done before my time too. So I don't have a lot of hands on anything that I worked on within the last 6 years, really.
Gosh, is it like 6 years?
So sorry, I can't give you an answer on that. I don't want to speak to something I don't.
You're 0 for 2, Kyle.
I know.
There's going to be a fight on that.
Will there be a new Max Scent Lab Series Creature Hog?
That's a good question. So let me add. Then this is where my job comes in. What's the difference between the two, and why do you think one's better than the other?
So the new one has a little bit thicker flappers, like the two flaps coming off the back, and it has ridges like super subtle ridges. Whereas the old ones were just straight flat down the side, and these new ones are soft. These new ones are softer. They
tear up too easy for you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll ask the team when I get back in.
Yeah.
feedback.
When
It
is
happened
the
here,
lab
folks.
series Koike style bait coming out? Is that next month?
We'd be an idiot not to look at that market, right?
I mean, hey, actually, Darren had a great idea. So when my minnows go bad from catching so many minnow fish, that's a joke because I suck at minnow fishing. But what I've done is cut the first inch off as a chatterbait trailer, and then I can stick some skirting through that
Yeah.
and have my own little, fuzzy nugget of, hey,
I think you're onto something, Devo.
That is actually my favorite bladed jig trailer is the minnow as well.
It looks sick.
So it does look good.
It looks sick.
That's exactly what I'm doing with those baits.
And then save the other inch that you cut off. Make your lab series dice bait. Boom.
There you go.
See,
You're
Heard
hired.
it here. Anybody wins a tournament on it, I get 10% of your winnings.
10%. Devo's got to go full time. Were you in training all day today? All day today.
You'd love it.
Yeah.
All
right.
I just still tell people 6 years in, it's work, but I pinch myself going, I'm still excited to stay nights going to work on Monday. So
yeah, there are people out there dreaming about taking your life so they can take your job. Yep. I would imagine. I would imagine. Pretty sweet job. So as you're going through your stories, I was taking some notes because I don't want to forget that. So I know you can't really get into the science of the bass and hit, but you guys have like parameters baits have to meet, like tests.
Sure.
And so if it falls below that, you're like, boom, no, we got to go back to drawing board.
Yeah.
And
so
my other question is like, if it performs above average, like significantly, do you fast track a bait? And it's like, hey, everyone else who did good but not great, move aside. We're sending lab series at the front of the line or whatever it is.
If it wins a classic, maybe.
A lot
Horrible.
Of that is not handled by me. I just try to make sure the worms wiggle right, man. That's my main focus. I try to stay in my lane. We have way smarter people than me leading the brand and where it's going and the market trends and all that. I really try to stay out of that the best I can. But I can speak to the specs that we call around a bait.
Yeah.
We have spec packets from the drawings. A prime example would be the chop block. That bait is power bait. We have a floating material in there that adds the buoyancy to the bait, just like a resin bait. Everybody talks about glide baits. Resin baits are the best for true action because the buoyancy is spread out throughout the whole bait evenly, and that is true. Same thing with the chop block. One of the things that we do with that bait is every single bait is buoyancy tested. So I have a spec that says this bait has to sink this slow between a foot of water. Anything that sinks faster than that, the bait is unstable, it loses its buoyancy, and is rejected bait. So every single chop block that everybody's holding has gone through a buoyancy test to make sure it fits in the requirements that I say that is best for the action before the consumer gets it. So that tear strength, the mesh joint in between there, that actually rips out at over 20 pounds. So we have a tear strength where we put it in a vise and a load cell and we'll pull it apart. And that's where we set that spec to make sure that the hardness is right for the action and they correlate for durability. We also have a TA testing, which tests like the softness and hardness of the bait. So there's all kinds of specs that we put into each and every single bait. Some are worse than others, but each one has their own spec packet.
Nice. Interesting. So that's the testing before it goes to production. Is there any is that the last test that it goes to before it actually goes to production and starts getting into the hand? How's QC work post?
There's a preliminary spec, and that's our design one. That's where we're starting to get the base requirements. And as it goes through manufacturing and gets into the larger, we call it an MSL, master sample lot, where we get a first run off of production where it's several baits. That's where we're testing every single one of those and seeing our range, what is acceptable and what is not. And that's what really locks in the testing data and the specs for that.
Pretty cool.
So, other questions. I got a ton of questions over here. Have you ever like developed a bait and you're like, oh yeah, this is freaking sweet. It works. It passes all the tests. It's performing above average. But you're like, we're not quite sure how to sell it, right? Because you have to sell the science, which is what you guys are known for. You have teams.
Yeah.
But how do you How do you sell something so weird, but works?
That would probably be like consumer feedback, getting all these anglers on board. I have all kinds of awesome ideas that the brand guy goes like, they're being nice to me, right? They're all my buddies, but they'll be like, Kyle, it's stupid. But we get field testing, we'll get it back. And it's not about what I think is cool, right? It's about what Berkley thinks in the market and if we can sell it or not, because just like the curly bones might be the best fishing bait ever, but if it doesn't get put on a peg, it doesn't make sense to go to the market and waste the resources. So it's a balance, right, of trying to figure out like cool ideas and where it fits in. Luckily, in today's market, all weird stuff sells, so we can kind of do some of these
lean
cool
into
things,
the hard,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
Fascinating. What is? Have you ever found something from the 6 years working at Berkley, or maybe when you first got there, you're like, whoa, Ingo's really put a lot of thought and attention into this particular thing, but our science doesn't support it. Any things you're like, whoa, when you first got to Berkeley, like, oh, I didn't keep seeing this repeating pattern. Like people are saying this, but science is saying this.
Oh, all the time. And like I said, that's the fish science side of things.
Sure.
That's Mark Sexton's team, but fish can't hear rattle traps. Like that's one of them that just mind blowing to me. They literally their decibel range. And like I said, I'm not the expert at this, so don't quote me on any of this, but fish can't hear certain ranges and most lures fall outside of that. A prime example would be I used to.
You're saying science supports that, or people are saying that?
Well, people believe that they can hear rattle traps, right? But science says that they can't.
So Booyah used to sell they sell a high pitch and a low pitch topwater, the badonkadonks.
Okay.
Is the issue they can feel it though? They may not be able to hear it, but they can feel the vibrations.
That's a good question. That's my range. Ask me about worms wiggling. You know what I mean? Invite Mark Sexton on here. He's got all kinds of knowledge on this stuff.
We've got questions, really, Mark. You will get an invite.
Yes.
I'm fascinated. Like, okay, how would you even test if the fish felt it or heard it? Like, what test do you do to determine?
We have all kinds of hundreds and thousands of dollars of testing equipment, little sensors and all kinds of things that he deals with. I'll get you his contact.
Worms wiggling. We gotta stay in our lane, Debo, Wyatt.
I just don't want to speak to something I don't truly know. But
speaking of worms wiggling,
all my hours of shaping rattle traps. This one sounds a little bit deeper.
So what's the science say about frequencies and just like what is the range that bats can hear? Nope, you don't know.
I don't know, buddy.
There's gotta be something out there.
I know, but I can't. I don't know at the same time.
You know what I was thinking as Kyle was talking? I'm going to go wide here real quick. Are you still tracking all your fish in that app?
Yeah, I actually. So whenever it said that anglers pay attention to stuff that doesn't actually matter or supposedly doesn't actually matter, like the moon phase thing. I pulled up for 5,000 fish that have been logged on the Bass Thumb AI.
Yeah.
For moon phase. I don't know how well we can see it. It's perfectly split across every single moon phase. 14%, 14%, 15%, 14%, 13%. Like moon phase is it apparently does not mean anything.
So for those of you who are like, hey, what are we talking about? We had Bass Thumb AI on essentially to take your information and they pull the metadata from your photos and location to coalescing the weather reports. And they're actually putting this into a dashboard to kind of show you to find any trends and what you could pull from that. And so you can do it for you. It's not shared with everyone else. And they have this like macro. It's shared, but at a high level of the numbers. So that's what Wyatt is talking about. How many bass have you uploaded so far?
I've put 125 on there.
There you go.
Leading the leaderboard.
Heck yeah. I like it. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, listen to that podcast. And right now, I believe the app is still free. It won't be for long, though. So go check that out. All right. If you have a question for Kyle, Debo, myself, or Wyatt, please throw that in the comment section. In fact, I think I've actually started some. Yeah. All right, what do we got here? Here's a question from JP6228. This was from earlier on. What's your personal go-to crankbait in Berkley's lineup?
These questions are loaded. So time and place, right? It all depends. I'll break it down to cold water. I actually prefer the Money Badger. I have had some crazy 100 fish days in 40-degree water on the Money Badger. And then the number
that was originally
two,
a walleye bait, correct?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it designed for walleyes, but I've
everything's walleye bait. You fish it wrong enough.
Yeah, I destroyed largemouth on that bait a lot, and big ones. And then number two, actually, I got a 7.3 on the Money Badger 2 years ago, which used to be my PB until I beat it. Then 8.19 up here. Yeah, and then the dime. I love dime in the summer.
Excellent. I have a dime. I've yet to
big fan of the dime.
Pull that out. I think I fished it once, but it's actually hooked up right now. All right, other comments in here. If you guys see one wider, Devo, go ahead.
That was a great question. Who's the best pro to work with? Who's the most pro to work with?
Who's your favorite pro to work with? I would have to say that's tough. They're all great. They really are. They answer their phones all the time.
That's the biggest thing when getting a hold of fishermen. It's getting them to respond.
It is weird how it's not weird. They all have their own area of expertise. Like John Cox, he's come and stayed at my house. We fished tournaments together. So he's a pro, but he's a friend right at the same time. So
that's awesome.
They all have their range, who's the best at shallow water fishing and whatnot. And they all have their expertise, but I enjoy working with them all. There's not one person that I would single out. So sorry for that. They're all great.
Nice try.
Johnny Cox
trying to get me in trouble, aren't they?
Like a lot of fun.
Which one, Devo?
Johnny Cox seems like an absolute riot to hang out with.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Just the most down to earth guy, and that's all
Pass
these guys.
As your brother.
So here's a question you might not be able to answer. It's more of I'm asking you as Kyle the fisherman, not as Kyle. I work for Berkley. But if you had to be outside looking in on Berkley, how it's kind of a bad setup, but if you can answer this. How do you guys have your fishing brand lines and lures, soft plastics, etc., stand out where there's literally billions of brands and options everywhere? And so just kind of in general, you're in the business. That's what I'm asking for. Someone in the industry, and you talk to a lot of people in the industry. We're not just talking about Berkley here.
So you're asking me, how do our brands stand out against others?
Yeah, I mean, it's a highly saturated market, and you got Macro, Grills in the Room, been doing it for a long time, Berkley, and then you have a lot of people gaining traction fast on just building the stuff out of the garage. I mean, every 5 seconds I see some type of something. Some of them are starting to scale, and so it's a lot of noise.
Yeah, the thing that really stood out to me, and the thing that I do, is it is truly a science that goes in every one of those baits and the fish tractants that go into it. I've watched it with my own eyes in the tank, watch them eat our soft plastic and swallow it while they spit other people's out, and that stuff speaks volumes to you, especially when you're there and you're doing it every day and you're out in the field. Every single person that touches the bait believes in that, and then when you go out and you use it in the field and you can see the numbers stack against why it's better, it truly helps you believe in the brand, and I think the consumers are seeing that too and doing that. I'm like I said, I'm the guy that makes the worms wiggle, right? So that'd be a brand guy question for you, Nathan. You'll have to get on here.
So when y'all fish the lab series stuff, I don't know if you noticed it. Whenever they fish the lab series stuff, what did they fish it against, and how bad did it beat it? How bad was it? 500 to 10 or?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Lab series is a combination of all of Berkley's sense story from the 90s, right? So we've had all kinds of data that's done right in the lab, so they are able to cut up the bait and subject it to the fish and get the feedback instantly. Yeah. My job is to make sure the action and the wiggle is right? So that's where I'm getting all the pro feedback. That's where I'm getting the buoyancy chamber, the tail thicknesses right, the rigging. The big one was getting casting accuracy with forward-facing sonar. If you get too floppy of a minnow, it'll catch the wind and kind of steer your cast off a little bit. So the scent in that was able to take all action out of it, right? So we were able to do that in the lab, and then the fish catching actions and the casting and the usability, that's where I all came in to put it in there. So if that kind of makes sense in a way. I know it's not the direct answer you're looking for where we're trying to shake head-to-head minnows, but the formula and the tractant package is all done in the lab with our chemistry team.
Is there any
Basically,
other...
you got the Bass Geek there said you got the feedback that nobody likes a floppy minnow is what it came down to. Huh?
Yeah, it's true.
I love Basky. One of my favorite people.
You got a donation there too from Stinky River Tom.
What? How'd I miss that? My gosh. All right, let's see what he has. I stop the shows when people make and I don't care what you write. I'll read it out loud. I'm going to regret that decision. Stinky River Tom coming in for $20. Appreciate you, brother. He said, I'm a dumb Wisconsin River guy about to be in the Blackfoot Hills over the South Dakota. Never caught a trout. Any advice, any tips for exploring new waters or knowledge of bass there? So,
oh boy, I've never been out there, so
me
I
either.
wouldn't know.
Rooster tail, throw on a rooster tail.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we just came out with the new dough rider, which allows us to take our most popular selling product of all time, which is trout dough, power bait dough.
Oh yeah, got a lot of trout on
and yeah, that's kind of and John Prochnow, who's a Hall of Fame angler that leads the chemistry team, he said that product did so well. It's because each individual angler would be able to take and become their own field tester. So as they fish that under the bobber, they could put our power bait down and this competitor throw it out, and they could keep watching our bobber go down. And that's what really, sold off. So we have a new product out called Trout Dough Spinner or Dough Spinner, where we can put that Berkley dough in there and pass around, and it'll leave a scent trail behind your spinner. Yeah, it's done really well. People are loving it.
See, I live right next to a pond, and they just stocked it last year, and I saw them put 1,600 trout in there. I went and asked the guy who was dumping them in. He's looking at his sketchboard. He's like, I was like, 1,600? Holy cow. And they just dumped another 1,600 in 3 weeks ago. And this is not that big of pond. And so I need to go over there, break out the old trout dough. And by the way, this stuff lasts forever. I think I've had the same little bottle for 5 years, and it still catches them like it did on year one. I don't know what you guys have in there, but it lasts for, until it gets wet. It lasts for a long time. Still effective.
Keep the lid on it and don't let it dry out. You'll be good.
It's crazy. Literally, I think it's been 5 years. I've been using the same thing. I think it's gone now. I need to go get.
Sounds like you don't catch many fish.
Heyo, I don't trout fish. Here we are on Thanksgiving. I trout fish every Thanksgiving. I love it. So, how do you remove any bias when testing all these baits? Or you're like, hey, bias is allowed because these guys have been doing it and girls have been doing it for 30 plus years. And
that's a good question. The fish help with that. Dan and I actually talk about we're a little nervous when we submit lures to the fish because you put so much time and work into them, and if the fish don't like it as much, you take all bias out of it, right? You take yourself out of it. The fish don't like it, and you kind of go back to the drawing board. So that's a good way. The other one is the panel feedback. If you really like something or some other person really likes it, but all the other people don't, it kind of gives you a sense like this is the way that you need to go with the lure. So those are kind of the two main ways that pop out up for that.
Yeah. So I keep on all the other questions you keep popping in. You're talking about, do the fish like it? And I thought, do you like rotate these fish? Do you have like names for these fish? Like how's this work? How do you keep a control?
I will say that every fish, once it strikes a lure, is gone. We donate them to the DNR, and there's
gone.
No there.
They eat
what?
Fish fry.
No, sorry.
Fish fry. Cafeteria.
They are not used. They are not used in any more tests. They are. We bring in new fish that are unbiased for that testing. Those fish are then put in a holding tank, donated to the DNR, and the DNR stocks them wherever they think fit.
You guys move some bass now.
Yeah,
Where do you get those?
they're not cheap. I
Those?
think a largemouth bass is like $5. Hey, I could be wrong. It might be up to $20 now a piece.
So So where do you get those from? Do you guys have to go catch those, or does DNR work with you guys to?
Like I said, not in my area, but I believe they get them from a hatchery. They're all pellet raised fish that have never seen a lure, so the baseline is 0 on everything. So
interesting.
Like I said, when I talked about there's a very scientific process that we follow that's fair and even all the way across. That's what we do. So it is all the same for all lures, no matter what we're testing. It's a scientific method that we follow, that they've been following way before my time, to let the fish tell us, basically.
My mind's going crazy right now. So they all the same size?
Pretty much, yeah. There's a little range there that when they come in, they're not small, they're not giant 10-pounders, but they're 3 to 5 pounders in that range, I would say.
Whose job is it to go catch 3 to 5 pounders out of a tank all day? Oh my gosh! Sorry, my mind just going on. I don't know. I had no baseline for that. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I didn't either. I wasn't expecting that.
You move them, they get donated. Then the DNR does DNR things with them, whatever that is.
Yeah,
put them in our lake out
one
there.
Fish on the lure and then you eat it. That's crazy.
I can imagine it's the guy down the corner and say, "Hey, want to get out of here? I know how.
Hey, want to just go eat all those fish in the tanks?"
Then you go into that tank. And then I don't know where you go, but I've been following this for a few weeks now. Oh my gosh. So interesting.
Yeah, super cool.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say my jaw hit the floor when I first walked in that facility. I can't believe what all goes into making a lure.
No, this is it's definitely eye-opening for me. I'm going to kick myself, I know, here in about 20 minutes when we're off the show. I was like, I should have asked him that. Should have asked him that. Should have asked him that. Let me ask you a few more last minute questions here. And Debo or Wyatt, if I'm missing something over the comment section, it's kind of been rolling there. But
yeah, rapid fires. Throw your rapid fires in, guys and gals, for Kyle.
Yeah,
easy this or that. Throw him some softballs.
Kyle, you designed the chop block, right?
I did.
Yeah. So how did you figure out the best like sink rate? You said you had a spec for sink rate. Like, what did you have a glide bait that you used, like your favorite one, or did you just pick a?
That bait was very, very challenging to get right. It was all about pitch of the bait. So let's say the head tilted down too much by the time I got the rigging, like the harness and whatever, when I'm dealing with action, because a lot of times I have like hot knives where I can like shape the plastisol in a way to test action, so I can get instant feedback. We'll make a bait, I can like trim it down or whatnot. So let's say the bait, I would trim it down, I'd get the swim action right, but and this happened to me several times, but the pitch would be right off. So as soon as you'd work it, swim fine, and then it started to sink, the head would go down, and then you pop it and it would roll the bait on the side and become unstable. So then I was literally flaring out gills, like just getting each little part tweaked to get that bait to sit perfectly level. And what I found is if the bait sinks in a foot faster than 3 seconds, it becomes unstable, where you're losing your upright buoyancy. So I built that, when I talk about the sink rate or whatever, I built it for that lure. I didn't really compare it to anybody else. Luckily, as a musky guy, I mean, that's all I really fished back in the day was glide baits. So I knew them kind of in and out already, just how physics and hydrodynamics work on lures. So getting the balance and pitch right, and finding the spec that you don't want it to float, like then it's a topwater, right? And you can't have it sink too fast. So that's kind of where we were at that bait. So one of the things that I like to do, I don't tell people about this a lot, but you can put nail weights in the bait and you can actually get it to sink down a little bit faster, but you start to walk that fine line of killing the buoyancy and the bait comes unstable. So that's kind of how I built the sink rate spec, was just on the function of that bait alone, to make it better for the consumer, you know?
Yeah. I have nail weighted some Nessies so I can sit there and just work it really, really fast.
Nice.
Yeah, you can tweak around with it. Here's a really cool story. So that bait is prototype design, developed in Spirit Lake, and then the colors on those baits, we teamed up with a local taxidermist named Brett Wingfield, and he hand painted every single one of those baits and developed the color scheme and coloring book where we could show manufacturing how to make those baits. So not only were the baits developed here, the color and the patterns were developed by a guy right here in Spirit Lake, Iowa.
There you
awesome.
go. All right, rapid fire time. Debo, if you see anything over there in the comment section, just pull it on in. I'll kick us off with, what's a test result that has shocked you since you've been there? You're like, whoa, I was wrong based on the science.
A test result?
Yeah, trends that you see. I mean, you guys are ripping through bass, and you're seeing trends that you didn't know. Like you were opened up to a ton of information most anglers never hear in their lifetime in a very short
Okay.
time. What were some of those like whoa moments for you?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know how to answer that one. There's a lot of rules or theories in fishing that are completely wrong in my opinion, and like that's one of the things that I like is we let the fish kind of tell us. So I can't really nail anything down for you on that one.
No, I think it's interesting. I mean, has there been a recent publication coming out of Berkley on some of those findings recently, lately?
No
I'm not
idea.
aware of? No idea.
No idea, buddy.
Debo, you aware of anything, Wyatt? It seems like
No, I was listening to another podcast. I think it might have been Bass After Dark they had, and I've heard this from a few different fisheries biologists. Like Kyle's saying, there's a lot of them that are maybe not even wrong, but like misconceptions, like part of it's not understood correctly. And it's like the telephone game, you know, your great uncle or your grandpa or your buddy, you know, it just keeps going down the line, and it's things that, you know, are kind of like old wives' tales that aren't even really true, you know, are kind of coming out as they can study bass in more ways and in different ways. And I'm sure Kyle's seen a bunch of it, you know, like he was talking about from the tank and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because you hear old Jim Bob at the ramp talking about, well, don't fish after a storm because they'll never eat, you know, then that spreads, you know, and then all these people are saying it. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, it'd be interesting, like working on the science side. Like you know things like it wasn't an opinion. I was just sharing a fact actually from the data report from that no one else on this planet is doing. One, is there anybody else on this planet kind of doing testing on bass like you guys are? And two, is that frustrating being like, okay, I'm coming from a scientific standpoint, everyone else coming from opinion based like standpoint and experience based standpoint. How does that, you might even get that with like data versus pros. Do pros ever disagree with the data? I was like, I hear what you're telling me, Kyle, but that's not what I'm seeing in front of my eyes right now as I'm talking on the phone fishing.
Yeah, that I'm sure that like I said, I just make sure the bait's wiggle right, but I'm, you know, the not hearing a rattle trap, I guarantee you pros would argue with you with that on there. So I don't know, like I said, a lot about how to walk that line, but I mean, that's kind of a tough question again. Like,
I'm a podcast host. I ask tough questions. I figured you weren't going to be able to answer some of them tonight. I figured I might as well ask them anyways.
You all right, yeah.
We are going to start landing this plane. We usually do around a minute 30. However, do we have any questions? We have questions out there. Wyatt, do you see any? Do you have any? Debo, you got any?
No, Wolf, I guess, Wolf Walmart in the chat. What's up, Wolf? Did ask a question on like sink rate. Do you guys ever mess with like different sink rates and stuff and different like water clarities? Like I know you guys have the, you know, like the clear test tank and that kind of stuff, but do you ever mess with like a super dirty one with a bunch of sediment and, you know, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we actually found out through testing on the Nessie that even like saltwater salinities change per region, right? So we would have one person tell us and one part tell us like this bait's perfect, it's absolute money, and then another guy telling us like, hey, I actually had to put a nail weight in this to get this to work right or to sink down. And then Dan would have the exact number, and it's like I'm gonna shoot from the hip here, but it's like 0.08 grams the difference between sinking and floating in 50-degree water temperatures. So when we're developing, or Dan was developing the Stunna, the tank had to be at a certain, we set it at 50 degrees optimal for jerk baits, right? but even the temperature changes the density of water and can affect your sink rate. So when you hear a suspending jerkbait instant, there's no such thing.
If it's at this,
it is moving at some point in time. There is no truly suspending jerkbait. There might be one that's just barely sitting there floating or sinking, but there is no such thing as a truly suspending jerkbait. They're moving at some point.
My mind is being blown tonight. I appreciate you answering.
We got all night, so
yeah, no, this is good. I got some questions coming in. People are asking, is it largies or is it like smallies as well? And is it just bass that you test on, or do you? I mean, you guys make walleye.
Are you talking about in our tank?
Yeah, just Berkley in general. Yeah, largie. Is it just largemouth?
There's bluegill in there. They bring trout in there. Largemouth. They have. I've heard in the past, not when I've been there, but when we have a walleye formula, they'll bring walleyes in.
Okay.
Any fish that we need, we'll bring in there. And then they had, like I said, I make sure the worms wriggle right. So I'm just kind of giving you guys half the stuff. But we had a saltwater facility in Florida as well, where we had our own lab there with chemists working to develop all saltwater attractants as well, and for those species. So that's a whole another side of Berkley.
So last few questions. I keep them coming up with them. So
yeah, keep coming.
Yeah. I forget it. Here's one. If you had to beat Debo in a fishing tournament, what bait are you tying on?
Anything. Kyle's about 18 million times better than me.
He'd be my partner the whole time, so we'd be set.
There you go.
Literally anything. So
out of all the baits that Berkley makes, how many are live right now? How many you guys have available?
Like how many SKUs they have?
Yeah, how many SKUs do you like? No, I know you make the baits wiggle, but do you have 50 baits out right now? Do you have 500 baits out right now? Like ballpark it for us.
I have no idea.
No clue.
No idea.
ChatGPT might know. I'll probably go over here.
I've got one kind of similar to the plastic question. Let's say we're going out on the boat for some fishing this time of year right now, and you only get one Berkley bait. What's it going to be?
Right now, this time of the year, what are we fishing for?
Let's say largies.
Largies. I am going to.
Let's do both. Let's do a largie pick and a smallie pick.
Ooh, I hate smallmouth, so I probably wouldn't go.
You hate.
And I know literally it could be anything because you're the best at catching walleye because they're easy to catch, right?
Easiest fish to catch for sure. Yeah, they're stupid easy. If I'm going largemouth fishing this time of the year, 55, 60 degrees, it's going to be hard for me to take off some sort of swim bait, the chop block or coal shad. The drawing power, I like to have. Let's see if I can say this right without giving too much juice away. I like to have an arsenal of lures at the ready to go through to read the fish's mood. So I might start off with a glide bait, let's say, and I might have that fish follow. If it doesn't hit, I have a secondary bait, let's just say a general, rigged up and ready to go to pitch back right on that fish. And you can start to really read the mood of fish. Each fish has its own personality and behavior, and they might be curious to follow and show themselves, but not really going to commit to that glide bait yet, where I can go back in right away, same dock, weed line, forward facing or whatever, and present a different lure with a different speed or cadence that from my history of fishing, that I know will work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like your follow-up bait. So you're getting the fish to show themselves with the glide sometimes, and then following up when seeing do they want something flipped? Do they want something slow falling? Do they want something?
Yeah, and a lot of times, especially with forward-facing sonar, if I make 3 casts without a positive strike response, I'm changing. A good story would be 40-degree water. I'm out fishing. I got a lay down. It had bass all over it. I threw my Stunna out there, Stunna 100, my favorite jerkbait of all time. I work it out. I have 3 fish follow it, 3 largemouth. Throw it out there again, 3 casts, a couple more follow it. Go out there again, a couple more follow it. Wouldn't hit it. It was the blue vapor color. I instantly switched 3 casts. That's my rule. If I got fish swimming, something's not right. I firmly believe that every fish can be caught at some point in time. Definitely times harder than others, but I made a switch. I switched to the Nebu color, and I caught 6 and 6 casts off that same brush pile. Lost one, and I caught 3 and 3 more casts. So that was the same brush pile, same fish, where I was able to read the fish's mood, realize that they don't want it, switch, make an adjustment, and then instantly get rewarded in a way. So I like to have, yeah, they're tools in my mind. All fishing lures are tools to get the job done. It doesn't matter whose they are or what they're doing. It's all about a tool and what tool is best to get it done. Kind of makes sense. I know.
How about smallies? It does. That's your large answer. How about smallies, though?
Yeah, because real quick, Kyle, you made some enemies in the comment section over here.
Did I?
Hate smallies. Just know I'm thinking pretty bad of you right now. Travis over here hates smallies. Eyeballs.
Okay, let me
me
back this up and why. I don't like where smallies live. I don't like the rock piles and side scanning to find them and how they live. And I don't really like the techniques to use to get them. I don't like the finesse and the ultra slow type stuff. I like jamming hook sets. I like boat flipping. That's why I don't hate them. So I come off and say I hate smallmouth. But I'm a large guy. I like the techniques used.
Don't count Yakenstein's. He throws a drop shot 95% of the time. So
the rock piles are super fun. He says.
No, there's nothing better than dropping a 1-ounce jig in some milfoil and watching it stop 2 feet on the surface and 65-pound braid and just jacking a hook. There's nothing better than that.
That's an incorrect answer. There is something better than that, Kyle.
Topwater?
A frog. Yeah, that is the correct answer. So
no.
I'm with Kyle.
How do I close out this chat and never come back?
You'll have to come up here, and when you use a 1-ounce jig and you're pitching into the thickest stuff ever, and you doing little 10-foot pitches and
something I don't do.
8 foot of water, and it goes and it just stops 2 foot down, and you gotta go. Oh,
I bet
there's nothing better.
Because it's like a jig bite, different, a little bit different. Yeah, I can see how that can be super addicting.
And Bass Geek just gave you an invitation to go fishing with him. Catching him on 20 feet on a crankbait right now.
That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. That's shallow for him.
Yeah, right. Bass Geek, by the way, you're like blowing up my feed. Like whatever you're doing is working, man. So keep it up. I love seeing what you're doing out there. All right. One of the last questions. If you don't got one, why do you got one? We don't have any more, I don't think, in the comment section. And so we will end on this question for you, Kyle. What would you tell your younger self about fishing?
What would I tell my younger self about fishing?
All those days you took skipping school paid off, buddy. Keep doing it.
I know, right?
Yeah. Man, that's a tough
Life's
one.
short.
There's so many answers, so many things I tell myself, but the biggest one, and the one that I learned the most, and it wasn't, if I could ever go back and give myself something, it would be listen to your gut, listen to the fish, and don't chase or do what other people are doing. Like that's one of the things that I've really learned over the years is trying your own things and learning your own things. That separates you from kind of the pack and makes you develop your own confidence in things. And it kind of separates you. So if I was going to go back and tell myself anything about fishing, it would be let nature teach you in a way, if that kind of makes sense.
No,
let your experience teach you.
Yeah. So Kyle, where can people find you? Are you on the socials out there anywhere?
I lost my Instagram, so I got like 400 followers on there. So
did you lose it or did you get kicked off for saying inappropriate things?
No, I lost it. It was junk and everything. But I have a Facebook platform. I think it's Kyle Peterson Outdoors or something like that.
He gave away one too many Berkley secrets, and they took
right.
his
Yeah, just Kyle Peterson on Facebook.
You're in a lot of trouble after this podcast goes.
I kept it pretty good. I don't think I said too much.
I'm going to have AI say things that you never said by tomorrow.
That's the hardest part about our job is I wish we could go through there and tell you everything that we do and all that, but then you're kind of teaching everybody else the same thing, right? So it's a double-edged sword, right?
I can appreciate you've broadened my horizons like concentric circles on what I knew about Berkley. I didn't think you were going to share half the things that you actually did share with us tonight. Debo,
Yeah. Thank you.
surprising for you?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime this is my favorite part of doing YouTube and like getting to talk to people. Like a lot of people are like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you could meet this guy? Like, I'm like, no, I want to hear people's stories. Like that is the coolest part to me, is just sitting down, how crazy or, insane a story is, whatever, that's to me always my favorite part. Just hearing the person's journey. So I appreciate the stories, Kyle.
Yeah, I had a blast, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'll come back anytime.
Yeah. Wyatt, any last words? Any last questions?
No, I say I'm gonna have to stop doing these podcasts because y'all tell me moon phase doesn't matter. You tell me rattle traps don't matter.
It's all meaningless, Wyatt.
Yeah.
Everything's meaningless.
Ugly stick and Cajun red. That's all I need, apparently.
Yeah, you'd be good.
Well, folks, appreciate you all for listening. And Kyle, thank you for your time. You definitely didn't have to do this, but you did. You didn't have to come to the table at the event, talk to Debo and I, who were sitting there looking way out of our element, but you did. And so,
well, I followed him on social media, so I kind of recognized your guys' face. I'm like, oh, it's an Iowa boy there.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. Debo, I am here because of you, Kyle, Wyatt, everybody else listening right now. So you're the common denominator today, man. Appreciate you. What do you got coming up, Debo? Anything we should know?
Yeah. Hopefully going up to visit Berkley up in Spirit Lake. That's just a few hours from me, and seeing if we can do some video stuff up there, Kyle.
Are you coming up?
If we can make it work, we'll talk later.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Let's get on the boat too.
Teach me the ways of catching the big ones.
Easiest fish to catch. We'll go catch some walleyes.
I love it. All right, folks. Well, you have a good one. Stay tuned for Debo's videos that are coming out. That sounds exciting. Also, Debo has a podcast on Saturday nights. So if you're checking in through my channels, head over there and check out his as well. We will see you next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. We got Science of the Strike coming back again. So should be good. You guys have a good one. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.